Want some, get some. Can I get a hell yeah? Yes, I am a pirate. You have to go with the Pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything. It's a pirate's life for me. Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirate. It is a first down. Pirates. Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it. I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there. You live with Omaha? I can promise you that. And it's purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down of my soul, and I don't back down not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome in to the Sports Objective, our Pirate preview. As we're here on a Wednesday night, let's bring in Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you?
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, we're running a few minutes behind tonight. Also, Semenza's not with us tonight. He had some work duties. And Stevie Fly had a meeting with the headmaster at Northeast Academy. So Stevie hopefully will join us before the show's over. But later on, here in about 15 minutes, we will be joined by the voice of the Campbell Camels and former voice of Pirate Baseball, Chris Heymer. He'll join us later on. And now I'll welcome in, Dave, Mr. Stats himself, Johnny Stats, JR, Johnny Robertson. What's going on, man?
What's good tonight, fellas? I'm just looking forward to more football on Saturday. I will be there. First home game of the season. I'm excited.
Yeah, Johnny's going to streak.
Can you
around.
hear me?
Yeah, Johnny, you're good.
Oh shit!
You're good, man. We got you.
Good, we can hear you.
Okay. I was having audio troubles. I wasn't even sure. Okay, I'm good now.
We even got the old shit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I apologize for that. I'm good now. I'm good.
You're good.
We're off to a great start. But the Pirate preview here on the Sports Objective, as we do every Wednesday night, by the way. And don't forget on Sunday night after the game, of course, we'll be on Saturday night. On Sunday night, we break down the game and we'll preview, not looking ahead, but Kyle's favorite team in Coastal Carolina. I say that sarcastically. But Johnny and I refuse to go to, we already had enough of Conway for a year. I don't think you're going to the game, right, Johnny?
I'm definitely taking that one off for sure.
All right. We'll let Kyle be the sacrificial lamb this time.
There'll be no sacrificial lamb except for the chandeliers. But hey, look, I think we'll have at least 5,000-6,000 people there.
You got
anyway, but we don't need to look at the Coastal. We got to concentrate on the Campbell Camels, who play competitively with the number 9 ranked FCS program in the country, the Rhode Island Rams. Lost that one, I believe it was 35-20. You mentioned that Campbell was gifted a couple scores in that game.
Yeah, they sure were. In the first half, they got 10 free points, basically. Rhode Island muffed a punt at the 3, and then Campbell punched it in for a touchdown. And then on the next kickoff, Rhode Island fumbled at the 18, and Campbell wasn't able to get a first down, but they kicked a field goal. So they got 10 easy points there.
Yeah, so game maybe not as close as the score indicated, but still, Campbell has been building their program. They got a couple former East Carolina players on the roster. You can't take anybody for granted. We're not good enough to take any team for granted. Campbell, I think as FCS programs go, I think they've been spending some money on NIL. It seems like I heard that. I don't know what you guys know about the level of investment they have in football right now.
Well, the players that they have, the players they're getting, Johnny, and I know you may know Kyle, but the players they're getting are like basically guys who want to play in the right now. We'll talk to Chris Heymer, 2 former players from East Carolina. They wanted to play right now. And so you've got guys that normally wouldn't. And for us, it'll be evenly matched. There's some players that are evenly matched with us, but there's a lot of players when they drop down to FCS and they're playing against other FCS opponents, Campbell is going to have an advantage on some of those players that East Carolina different. There's a transfer from Duke that's really good for them. They've got what is the kid's name? I've already forgotten his name now. I'm drawing a blank, but the kid from Northern Nash that's really good from the Rocky Mount area. He's a really good receiver, and
we'll let Heymer handle their roster because I'm not here with names in front of me. But point of the story is they got some talent and they got some FBS talent that is transferred over there. So we'll, and when you have a Campbell coming to Greenville, I'm not a fan of, and this is going to sound hypocritical, but I'm not a huge fan of playing these in-state FCS. I have no problem playing FCS. I think we need to play one every year. But I don't, these in-state FCS get so fired up to play us. Campbell will, give us their best shot as well they should. So, Zara, what concerns you about Campbell?
Well, Kyle, you said it. I mean, let's go back to 2018 NCAA. They beat us.
2017.
2017. Yeah.
No.
No, it was 18.
It was 18. That was 18. 17 was Madison.
Yeah.
And so we lost 2 in a row there. But I mean, overall, we're 10-2 in the last 12 against FCS opponents, and pretty handily. I mean, really, the last 3 games, which was Norfolk State, Gardner-Webb, and Campbell, 133-13.
Wow.
Yeah, what's interesting, and we've had some good teams. I remember struggling with ODU when they were FCS. I remember struggling with Charleston Southern
big time.
years. Yeah, and we had a good team that year. So, we're going to be trying to establish a run against Campbell. That is something we are definitely going to try to do with the lack of running against NC State. So if the score ends up, as long as we win it and we don't look bad, if the score isn't as lopsided as people want it to be, I wouldn't panic. You see, North Dakota, great FCS program, almost beat Kansas State this past week. I mean, it happens. Idaho should have, could have, would have beaten Washington State. So these Austin Peay whipped the dog mess out of Middle Tennessee. So that was all this past weekend. So you better, have your chin strap on, your helmet on, your jock strap on when you're playing anybody. And like I say, I think Campbell's an FCS program on the rise. And a little interesting note that Heymer may be able to elaborate on a little bit. They just signed a deal with WITN. WITN is going to air several Campbell football games on 7.2, which I find very interesting that they're trying to, I don't know if I want to say infiltrate this media market, but trying to make a bigger, have a bigger impact in Eastern North Carolina. I don't know if that's for recruiting purposes or what, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I did too, Kyle. I think they have 5 home games that they're going to broadcast. And
Okay,
it's
so
also
all 5 home games. Okay.
Yeah, and it's going to extend down to the Wilmington area as well.
Okay, so are they on a station in Wilmington also? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, that's according to the WITN. Yeah, WITN press release. They said it was going to extend to 2 other of their stations that they own in the state.
Okay, that makes sense because the Wilmington area would be more Campbell market, and there's probably a Fayetteville station, which would certainly be the Campbell market. So that makes sense.
Great broadcasting, right?
I have no idea, but
That's
I do find it interesting, and I wonder how they'll do on 7.2. Obviously, this is East Carolina country. I don't know how FCS ball does in the rankings, but I saw that release with Campbell, from WITN, and I thought it was something related to our game. And it said Campbell football and WITN. I thought, WITN 7.2 is carrying this game from the ESPN Plus feed, which is something I haven't seen done in years. I didn't think we had that right to do that anymore from the American. And no, it was Campbell having several home games televised on WITN 7.2. So interesting footnote, not directly related to the football game, but related to Campbell.
No, and that's actually, that reminds me of guys. That reminds me, Johnny and Kyle, of the 90s. Remember the 90s where after the Peach Bowl, we had a lot of games on WITN.
Oh, WNCT, then WITN, and that extended all the way through the mid-2000s. But going to jump into our side of the ball before Heymer gets in here. Want to get your guys' thoughts on what y'all are looking for this weekend from the Pirates. The obvious one is establishing the line of scrimmage on the offensive line, establishing a running game. We didn't do that last week. I'd like to see the defense continue to play well, continue to tackle well. That's anytime you can tackle well in space, it's going to give you an advantage. So I'd like to see that continue. Like to see Anthony Smith had an okay game. Thought Yannick Smith was very quiet. Need to see him more involved.
Yep.
Like to see Padaway get more involved with the passing game. Is Brock Spalding, is he going to be a consistent playmaker for us? That's, more things to see in game 2. But the biggest thing, and I don't want us to get so caught up on it that we don't just go ahead and do what we need to do offensively to win the game. But the biggest thing we need to do is establish the running game. And I'd like to see us, Zemenza mentioned it Sunday, be more creative with the running game. Some more option type plays, pitching the ball outside more. That's the biggest thing I want to see. JR, what about you?
Okay, so obviously the running game is 1A for me, but Campbell, they performed pretty well against Rhode Island. Rhode Island was good running the ball last season, and Campbell held them to 3.2 yards per carry. So, I mean, yeah, I'm looking for us to be successful on the ground, but I think you can't write it off as it's Campbell, because they have proven that they can be effective against the run. That I'm looking for our running backs to maybe get involved in the pass game a little bit more. We had 4 targets to the running backs at State, and we had 2 drops, 1 incompletion, and then London caught 1 for 8 yards. So, I mean, those guys, getting them, the ball, obviously Gunn's not going to be involved in the passing game too much, but the other 2, I really want to see what they can do, getting the ball out in space, like you said. And I think that adds a new level to the offense.
Yeah, I'd like to see both running backs, both the kid from Houston, whose name's escaping me right now. I don't know why. It will not stick in my brain. Help me out, guys.
Who you trying to figure out?
From Houston.
Oh, the running back.
Yes, the running back.
Kyle, you and I are the same one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the running back from Houston transferred here. He played. He played significantly.
Parker Jenkins.
Jenkins,
Parker's the one that he was in there on that goal line.
Yeah. Parker had a big freshman year 2 years ago at Houston. Played significantly Thursday night against the Wolfpack. I think he's a guy that we really want to utilize in the passing game. He didn't, catch the ball thrown to him Thursday, but he'll get more opportunities. I think him and Montgomery, something Matt also talked about was he'd like to see us, while we're using 3 backs, focus on 2 of them to get them lathered up, so to speak, which I agree with 100%. I think lots of times running backs need to be in the game more to get lathered up. So then you got to figure out who your primary back's going to be. And then the other 2 get their rotation and their touches. But whether that be Montgomery or whether that be Parker Jenkins or whether it be Marlon Gunn, I think we need to find that primary back, and then have one more back that gets the majority of the secondary reps, and then use that third back, Gunn in situational type spots, the goal line, short yardage, etc., him being the bigger back.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, I want to do some comments real quick while we have a chance. Kenny, hello, Kenny. Robert, Jonathan, all on the show tonight with us. Kenny said this is a game the Pirates need to show dominance, run, pass, and crush them on defense.
Yeah, that would be great, Kenny. I mean, I'm more worried about just winning because I do think we're going to be working on the run game quite a bit. And JR made a good point that, Campbell did well against the run against a good FCS running game from Rhode Island the other night. Again, I'll go back. I wouldn't be unless we get the run going, and maybe we will early. I don't expect the score to be as lopsided as people want it to be.
Okay, I want it to. I'm like Kenny. I'm looking for a smashing, a thumping, or whatever you want to call it. And I want to see. Okay, so the past 5 games against an FCS team, we've gotten to see the second string quarterback. I want to see
Mike Wright.
Caton. Well, I want to see Caton. Mike Wright, we're going to see, and there's no doubt about that. but I wouldn't even mind seeing Raheem Jeter. I just want to see Caden Hauser on the sideline with no helmet, on or holding it, whatever, and not he's checked out for the game, and we get a look at maybe Wright or Jeter under behind under center, whatever.
By the way, guys, Robert's saying he's looking for less penalties.
Good point, Robert. Yes, penalties hurt us significantly Thursday night. That is something we need to cut down on drastically, and I think we will. Those are correctable mistakes. You're playing the Wolfpack, first game of the year. You make a lot of mistakes first game of the year, a lot of new players, emotional game against NC State. And early in that game, I think the crowd was getting to the offense. So I do expect the penalties to be cut down significantly this week. I don't mind effort penalties. And a lot of those penalties were holds on offense. And to me, that's effort penalties. But at the same time, those holding penalties offense will kill you. So, I'd keep the effort, cut out the penalties. I don't remember us getting too many dumb personal foul type penalties against NC State. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right,
also, I was just going to say, Dave, one more thing. We didn't have an interception for the first time on opening day since 2016. So let's see if we can go 2 in a row. The last time that was done was Shane did it in 2013 against Old Dominion and Florida Atlantic. So,
wow. All right.
There you go. Florida Atlantic Thursday night game. I remember that game well.
Jonathan agrees with Kenny. Like Coach and Logan says, good teams beat bad teams badly. We need to dominate this week.
Oh, who said Campbell's a bad team? Campbell's, I think, is a good FCS team. I'd like to dominate them, absolutely. But this narrative that they're a bad team needs to stop. They're an FCS team. I think they're probably a pretty good FCS team. I want to win about 50 points, but.
Well, here's the thing: FCS does not help us any, and that's why
it gets us one closer. It gets us one closer to that bowl eligibility, and everybody else does it. If we quit doing it, we would be idiots. We would be fighting a battle against other teams that are trying to get bowl eligible that are playing one FCS. So
I agree, Kyle. Hey, Dave, I say it all the time. I mean, the Big Ten does it, the SEC does it, and they've been doing it forever. I mean, we're not better than they are. I mean, they do it, and I think we should take advantage of it.
Well, the problem becomes that if we ever have a magical season, we'll see. If we have a magical
I'll do nothing but say, look at Liberty 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, had the weakest schedule in the history of FBS football. Didn't play forget a FCS school. They didn't have one Power 4 opponent on their schedule. And they made what would now be the playoffs, the New Year's Six. So, I guarantee you, if we went 11-1 this year and our only loss is to NC State and we got to win over BYU, Tulane, Memphis, and then South Florida in the championship game, we're in the playoff. I mean, we're not contentious for the playoff this year. We're not that good. But no, it's not going to hurt us because everybody else does it, Dave. Everybody else plays an FCS.
Well, for one
it's
thing,
not like you're going to have Boise State not play an FCS team or Tulane not play an FCS team. So it's not going to hurt us because everybody else does it.
Well, I will say this: it's easy for we've talked about this ad nauseum. The problem with
everybody disagrees with you. You keep bringing it up.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Our problem with the athletic administration right now is they can't schedule their way out of a paper bag.
Oh, I agree with you there.
They get mad with me. I know they won't speak to me. That's okay. Because I'm going to be a Pirate forever until obviously the day I die. But show me on here. I'm just going to make this point and move on. But show me where you've scheduled someone outside of a bye game or FCS. It's not many.
They
ODU,
have it. Gilbert, ODU, Appalachian State.
Wake Forest. I will give you Wake Forest. Yeah.
No, that was Confer.
That was Confer?
That was Confer.
Okay.
I think Gilbert got the NC State series extended by 2 games, but I'm not even sure I can give him credit on that. I think that might have been post-Confer. I think that might have been who was the acting AD at the time? Dave Hart. Yeah.
They gave us an extra one because we did that ridiculous.
But I still thought we extended it by 2 games since then. We may need to look at it. If somebody knows, post it. But besides that, Gilbert has not done much from a scheduling aspect that's been impressive. No, he has not.
And so that's why I'm saying you can schedule an FCS game where we have to pay $300,000 over there. Then you can't schedule North Carolina. Look, this is what I would say. I understand, and I will tell him, I'll defend him on the fact they're being jerks. Duke will not come to us anymore. Carolina won't put us on the schedule because we beat them the last 3 times. And oh, by the way, look at Monday night. They've got a $10 million coach that has 48 points scored on him. And they're more worried. The media tried for a whole summer for Carolina, by the way.
Well, I look at Northwestern, and you look at that, and you look at the payout we're getting for that. And I like playing Northwestern. And, if you're going to do a buy game, it's kind of buy game I want to do. But why not approach it about a 2-for-1? Why not? Instead of 800,000, we'll take 500,000 for 2 trips up there, and then you come here 1 trip.
Thank you, Philip Lee. I'm telling you right now. There was something about, even though it's a different era, there's something about the 90s when you have those big games on the schedule. And I'm not talking about.
Dave, did you send Heymer the proper link? He just texted me.
Yeah.
Okay. He said he's. I did forward it to him. You're correct. Yeah, hold on. You guys talk amongst yourselves. JR, Dave. I'm gonna see if I can get things straight with Heymer.
Okay. No, Johnny, I'm not saying, let me be very clear. I'm not saying playing the murder's road that we played like in the 80s when I became a fan, before I became a student, before I became a media guy, coach. I've had different angles for following this program and now the podcast. But the thing is, I would be okay. Here's one of my point. I would be more okay with FCS scheduling if we had better competition, better opponents. There's some schedules coming up that are pretty good, but there's no North Carolina. After 28, there's no NC State. There's no Duke. We had Boise State on the schedule, and Houston's the reason we got rid of that. And, he's not here anymore. And that was one of my beefs with Houston, is like, he made a point of why would you go to Idaho to play a football game? Because that's the team, that's like the group of 5 team that when people hear Boise State, they go, oh, wow, they might be a little bit down this year. But you hear that Boise State, that's probably the most recognizable name if you want to call the so-called group of 5. And we had a home and home. And I'm sorry, but our team needs to be treated like a national brand. If you're here and used to be at Alabama and Tennessee, act like this is Alabama and Tennessee. And, schedule. And what I was going to say earlier is I defend Gilbert on the fact they're being jerks in the ACC school where they won't play us.
Yeah. No, hey, Dave, I hear what you're saying. And I agree with your last point. I'm with you 100% on that. Boise State, it could ideally, we'd like to get to the point where, we're right there with Boise State being considered, a candidate.
Yes.
For the playoff spot. And so forget about, trying to have people vote on which team is better. You got your head-to-head shot right there.
Thank you, Johnny. Exactly.
And it was that I agree with you. I hated when they announced that they canceled that. I was distraught.
Houston said that, by the way, if y'all think I'm not beating up on Houston, he made some kind of crack when he was up at the podium at the kickoff luncheon. Why are we playing a team, like he was like doing a dig at Joe. It was one of those, you really couldn't tell, is that a joke with Gilbert or is that like a slam, on Gilbert? But, and then they get a game with, was it Appalachian State and Notre Dame? But if you want, and let me say this, if you want to look at, and I'll move on because we have our guest here, Chris Heymer in the green room, our dear friend. If you want to look at scheduling at the so-called group of 5, I'm not an App State fan. However, look at the job the AD has done at App State scheduling football. Look at it. And then tell me why we can't do it. Please tell me why we can't schedule. Carolina went to the Rock, right? So they just need to that's the one area where this current administration is not doing a good job, and that's on scheduling. So
yeah, I agree with you 100%. There's one quick point I'll make on that, and then we're going to bring in Hank Chris. And this isn't to defend Gilbert, But, we play a national scheduling conference because of the layout of the conference from San Antonio to Philadelphia. Sunbelt's a very regional conference. So, they being App State, signed a home and home with Oregon State. Well, why wouldn't East Carolina do that? Well, it's appealing to play Oregon State. But at the same time, we do not play a regional scheduling conference with the exception of Charlotte, Temple, and when Navy's on the schedule. So there is some sense to playing, Coastal Carolina,
I don't have a right.
Liberty, etc. Non-conference. There is, but you shouldn't drop Boise State. At the expense of doing that. We replaced Boise with Coastal. Nothing
Yep.
against Coastal, but I'd rather have Boise on the schedule. But anyway, let's
Again,
get focused back on Campbell and bring in Chris.
Chris Heymer, the voice of the Campbell Camels. Sorry, we're having a little debate about scheduling, but we want to
Chris,
bring.
would you like to chime in?
Man, I love it. You guys remember we all fell in love with ECU because they had any team, anytime, anywhere, man. When they would load it up, and that's how. And look, guys, that's how they made the reputation. The rules have changed, obviously, but it's great for the fans.
In '96, we had West Virginia. You had, of course, Miami. We beat Miami in the Orange Bowl, and we played NC State. Remember that? And what was now, it's now Bank of America Stadium, and we went 8-3 that year. And because they didn't have enough bowls back then, unfortunately, we got left out, which was ridiculous. That West Virginia game is where Logan went for 2. It was the very first year that we had you couldn't end in a tie, and they had overtime. He goes for 2. It's 10-9. I think we beat. Was it South Carolina the next week?
South Carolina next week.
Oh, I forgot about. Yeah, we beat the Gamecocks. So it's like I know there was a different era, but I'm just saying I'm from that era, and it's really
you need to do some of that. Like this year, BYU's coming to Greenville at NC State.
Right.
Coastal. I like the two. I like the 2-1-1. I like 2 Power Fives, 1 so-called Group of 5 non-conference, and then 1 FCS. I think if you do anything harder than that, if you're a Group of 5 team, you're just digging a hole. You're having to, we're all fighting for that playoff spot, and everybody else is playing schedules similar to this. The only problem I have is all these exciting non-conference home games against BYU, against against BYU, against Wake Forest, against NC State. These were all scheduled by the previous AD. So that's my only problem is Gilbert has not scheduled a exciting home and home. But anyway, exciting home game this Saturday with the Campbell Camels. Chris Heymer, welcome into the show. You guys took on the number 9 FCS program in the country, the Rhode Island Rams, this past week. Good start to the game. You guys, I believe, got up early. Final score was respectable. What are your thoughts on the Camels' performance up at Rhode Island?
Yeah, guys, we saw a lot of good things. Rhode Island was a sneaky, picked 8th in the CAA, ended up as co-champions last year. They returned pretty much everybody, their quarterback, their star wide receiver, a bunch of dudes on defense. And most importantly for them, they returned all of their offensive line. These guys are all either redshirt juniors or above, so they honestly have one of the most experienced offensive lines in all of FCS. So they're the prohibitive preseason favorite to win the CAA. They won a playoff game last year, and they're ranked in the top 10. I think the latest poll had them at 8. Campbell did a really good job against that big line and that really good offense against the run game. Campbell only allowed 109 yards of rushing against that team, and then they were pretty solid on offense. The running game was solid. A guy that I know people around Eastern North Carolina will remember, Randall King, who was a standout basketball and football player at Northern Nash. He's the star receiver now for Campbell. He had a big game, 5 catches through the air. And a Duke transfer by the name of Spencer Jones. He really didn't play there, dropped down, and he's a 6'3" guy, good speed, good possession receiver. He had 5 catches as well. Campbell had a very inexperienced special teams going in, a brand new long snapper, a brand new punter, a brand new field goal kicker. That usually spells disaster, especially at the FCS level, because you're playing with some walk-ons and some redshirt freshman guys. And Campbell hit a couple of 30-yard plus field goals, had some good punts and forced 3 turnovers in the first half. Rhode Island was just too experienced down the stretch, but that was a game that Campbell led from late in the first quarter into the fourth quarter. Again, it's much different playing an FBS team the caliber of ECU, but I think for the whole season, things bode well if Campbell can do that against a top 10 team.
Chris, you mentioned your run defense against the Rhode Island running attack, and pretty much shut down Rhode Island's run game. And you mentioned them having one of the most experienced offensive lines in the FCS. The Pirates struggled mightily to run the ball against North Carolina State. Did a good job in the passing game, particularly late in the game, but struggled to run it mightily. I think that's going to be a big focus for ECU this week is to try to get that running game going. Do you think that plays into Campbell's hands? If you guys, are good against experienced offensive line, FCS or FBS, an experienced line is experienced line. Do you think that plays in you guys' hands if we are working on trying to establish the run?
Well, it's something that both teams know. At least you think that would be the game plan for ECU to establish that. So it'll be really interesting. Again, in a very experienced FCS line versus a very experienced FBS line, you're usually adding about 2 or 3 inches and 20 to 25 pounds. But it will be interesting as we talk about in these games, especially why it's so fun, at least from us. In Campbell's standpoint to play ECU, and ECU has been really good to play Campbell 2 times here. In the last 3 years, that means a lot to us and a lot to our fans. There's a lot of guys that grew up in Eastern North Carolina that grew up liking the Pirates. There's a couple of former Pirates on this team. You talk about the run game, backup nose guard, big Logan Wright. And I say big Logan Wright because the dude's 5'11", maybe, but he is all of 310. And he is number 2 on the depth chart right now for us. But I tell you what, when he got in the third series of the game, I was watching film after the game a couple of days ago. And, man, that big man was something that experienced offensive line hadn't seen before. And he broke through and really caused some trouble. Campbell has some quick and some experienced linebackers. They line up in a 3-4, but those linebackers will move all the way around. So it'll be interesting to see. I will say, one of the big weaknesses that stood out for Campbell in week 1 was their corners. So even though everybody's thinking, maybe they'll establish the run and do the run, I think ECU too, knowing that the corners were the weak spot for Campbell, might try to exploit those, of course, with guys who are taller and faster out there than Campbell saw last week.
Chris, I wanted to ask, obviously, with one of the things I was talking about is guys dropping down from East Carolina, the dropping down from Duke. Well, didn't play at Duke, but drops down. This is not the one thing I want to tell Pirate fans. This is not your daddy or granddaddy's FCS because of the transfer portal. And there's been so many changes, what I'm not going to get into, obviously, because we have the smartest listeners and viewers, so they don't know all about that. But can you talk about that, about for Pirate fans, Pirate Nation, don't be like the snob and think, oh, it's an FCS opponent. So you've got a lot of FBS talent, the James Madisons of the world from years ago. And now you guys that it's not the same anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And the transfer portal has just shined a spotlight on that. What I have really noticed is, when we were coming up and an FBS team played an FCS team, a lot of times it would be 28-0 before you got to the second media timeout in the quarter. That's because these were FCS guys that were undersized and would come into a place like Dowdy Ficklen Stadium, and the crowd and the lights and the scoreboard, and they literally would be shell shocked. That's not the case anymore, because, as you say, these are guys that have come up either in big environments or have dropped down from the FBS level. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, man, this transfer portal, NIL, they must really be decimating FCS. And look, on the one hand, Campbell lost their best tackler to an FBS team last year on the defensive side. They lost their best receiver, a guy by the name of Sincere Brown, who started his collegiate career at South Florida, came to Campbell, redshirted a year. Campbell built him up. He became one of the best receivers in all of FCS, broke all kinds of records. He's playing for Dion right now in Colorado for what he is claiming and others have backed up to be about $500,000. So yes, that's the sad part of NIL and the stuff that places like Campbell can never compete with. But Campbell got a lot of guys like this guy from Duke, Spencer Jones, that was a 3-star coming out from Maryland, the state of Maryland. He went to Duke. He was buried on the depth chart, and now he's coming, and he's going to be a really big piece for Campbell. And where Campbell is positioned, Bowie's Creek at times in this college history, or let's be honest, maybe the first 120 years of this college history, hasn't been the sexiest location in the world. But we're getting guys to. That's a guy who probably has a lot of friends that are still at Duke, probably has a girlfriend that's in Durham, and so instead of going somewhere else, he sees that he can go to Bowie's Creek 50 minutes away. And we're seeing that with NC State drop downs. We're seeing that with UNC drop downs. And we're seeing that with ECU guys, let alone, you mentioned it, Charlotte guys, App State guys, because they say, hey, they can still stay in what's a pretty cool state with a lot of people they know, and they can play some good football. And then those guys that I just told you about, those two guys started at FBS, dropped down to FCS, had a couple of really good years, and now we're getting paid back in FBS. We don't want to, tell guys when they're coming in that, hey, you come here, just play for a year and get paid. But it's something that happens these days. And if you come here and win some games for us for a couple of years, we will gladly put up a graphic for you on the way out. So it really kind of works both ways. And for places like Campbell and a place like North Carolina, it's paying some dividends, guys.
Chris, we talk about NIL, the model's changing, being reeled in a little bit. You got to go through the clearinghouse now for anything over $600. We're going to the revenue sharing model. East Carolina, I shouldn't say abolished our collective, but Gilbert, our athletic director, has strongly encouraged all money to be donated to the Purple Gold Society. I can't even think of what it's called. Is for the money to go to revenue sharing instead of NIL. How do you think, with that change, players are still going to get paid? East Carolina's going to be able to pay more than Campbell. UNC's going to be able to pay more than East Carolina. Ohio State's going to be able to pay more than Jesus. It's just how it is. So I do think the revenue sharing is going to reel some of this in. How much of an impact do you think it'll have on the transfer portal from a positive environment and from a positive situation? Do you think it's going to slow down some of these transfers, or do you think it's just going to all be the same?
Man, I don't think it's gonna slow down a lot of the transfers, but what it has really done, and we have noticed, at the group of 5 level and the FCS level, now you have to choose what sports that you want to go all in if you are going to compete. Really hurts a place like Campbell. Look, Campbell, since they joined the Big South and we're in it for 12 years, of course, now 3rd year in the CAA for Campbell, they won 52 championships over 13 sports. Because of what you have to do, even at the FCS level, to be competitive in men's and women's basketball, to be competitive in baseball, softball, to be competitive into football, you're going to have to use some of that money. Revenue sharing, as you guys know, at the P4, they got a lot of revenue to share because they have the multi-million-dollar TV contracts. Down at this level, we don't have revenue to share. We aren't making money on our athletic department, so we have to come up with it in other ways. And that's just not a Campbell thing. That's FCS teams across the entire nation, actually in better position than most are. But that's what we have seen at this level, that the real true effect of the revenue sharing is. If you want to be competitive in something, you are going to have to pay some players, and you can't do that with the extra revenue you have because you don't have extra revenue. So what you're seeing is you're going to have to cut some of the Olympic sports, which really is a shame, because at the FCS level, the majority of the people that are in the student athletes that are in it for the Olympic sports are getting most of their education paid, having a really good experience, and are people that will give back to the university. But those people and those teams are going to be a little less than what they were in the past.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, particularly for me, how it affects, not only, the majority, who knows what's true, but you hear, I think 75% of our revenue sharing money is going to go to football, 15% to basketball, and then the 10% is going to be divided up between baseball and women's sports. Now, that's what I heard. Who knows if it's true? But I'm going to be interested not only to see how it affects Pirate baseball, but Campbell baseball, who's been a thorn in our side. How it affects you guys. Campbell baseball has grown so much over the last decade. It'd be a shame to see you guys take a step back. I'm tired of you beating East Carolina and Boys Creek, but it would be a shame to see you guys take a step back.
Yeah, and that's what really hurts, because in baseball we're talking about a Campbell team that for the second straight year has had 6 former Campbell players reach the majors. Most of those guys, including Zach Neto, who's the starting shortstop for the Los Angeles Angels, came out of high school to Campbell. They stayed at Campbell because they knew all the great things about it, just like why so many of the players that you guys know that have been stars for ECU over the last decade and a half stayed, because it's a really cool baseball environment that you get to play some really cool teams, especially in midweek when you're playing some of the best other baseball teams in the entire country. And in a sport like baseball, it doesn't matter if you're playing at Lenore Community College or Pitt Community College or ECU. If you're good, or if you can throw 96, they're going to find you. But if staying at one of those places is the difference between staying at one of those places and then going to Tennessee, where they're going to pay you 50 to 60 grand on top of everything else that I said, it's hard to stay no matter how much you like the school. So that's what I dislike as well, because to these baseball programs that have fought and clawed and have built themselves up with this reputation from the ground up, in ECU, the best example really anywhere in the nation of a school that's non-Power 4 that has been able to do that. And now that's going to be much, much harder to do.
Yeah, absolutely. JR, did you have anything directly for Chris directly about the game?
Well, yeah. I got to throw a stat out there. If I'm a
Johnny
Campbell
Stat.
fan, I'm a bit concerned on third downs. In the first and second quarter, I mean, you converted 3 consecutive third downs, and then after that, 0 for 11. And in the second half, you guys you were never in favorable position on third downs. You averaged like 6.5 to go. But here's the thing. On all 8 plays on third downs in the second half, he had a total of negative 16 yards. You only had 1 play for positive yardage, and that was a 2-yard run. So, I mean, I think if they would have improved on third downs, conversions, and just being better positioned, that game would have been a lot closer. And I was definitely rooting for the Campbells. And I just feel like that's something that you guys can improve on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're going to play. That on third down is just miserable. Good news was the Campbell defense did pretty good on third down their own self. But everything going well offensively, and he did a good job. But number one, I'm going to say starting quarterback for Campbell, the best the best name in all of FCS football, Cam Sixkiller. He's a transfer. He wears number 6. Sixkiller is his last name. It's spelled exactly like it sounds. And he's a transfer from McNeese State. He started some games at McNeese State, obviously in a new team. His first start as a Campbell, his first start as a starting quarterback. You could see that the offensive coordinator, the head coach, and the starting quarterback were all trying to get on the same page. He looked a little rusty, and then also Johnny, what he did was he really wasn't able to go downfield on third down. And when you're facing a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and 8, but a 3rd and 9, you'll get the results that they did. Again, tough to get your mojo back against the athletes that the ECU defense is going to throw out there, but that is definitely something that has to improve, or it's going to be a real long night for Campbell.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I have a real quick question on Camden. So what's his lineage to Sonny Sixkiller, who's also from Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma? They have to be related in some respect, but I can't figure it out.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. He couldn't give me the exact lineage, but knew exactly who that was, and they are related, somehow. And of course, when we first recruited him, and I saw that name, I thought about the same name that you did. But but he's a wonderful he's a wonderful student athlete that has come on, and look, he competed for and won the job from Mike Chandler II, which is also interesting about that quarterback room. Mike Chandler was a Lamar transfer that really battled for the job last year because of injury. He got to play in the last 4 games of the season and really kind of looked like the guy that was going to be a starter. They realized they had 2 really talented guys. This Mike Chandler from last year shown that he can run and pass, a little bit of a dual threat. So he was on the field for, I think it was somewhere between 35 and 40 snaps. And they told us that he was going to be Mike Chandler II. He lined up at running back. He took direct snaps. He lined up in the slot. He lined up as the sideline receiver. He ran crossing routes. He ran go routes. He did a little bit of everything and got into the end zone out of the Wildcat in one of the drives in that game against Rhode Island. So Campbell behind the man with the familiar quarterback name. They think they can do a lot of different things. Not the easiest scout out there because you never really know who's going to go behind center for Campbell.
Yeah, 2 quarterback system. We got a little bit of that potential with Mike Wright. Haven't seen much of it yet, but do expect to see it in games to come. You mentioned the transfers from ECU, the transfers from Duke, the young man that played up at Nash County, who I think had some FBS offers coming out of high school. Talk about that aspect. The Eastern North Carolina kids, the North Carolina kids in general, the transfers from FBS schools that get another opportunity to beat an in-state opponent like East Carolina. I'm sure, Campbell, obviously your goal is to win your conference and make the FCS playoffs, but they got to be fired up for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we are seeing with, I think you're going to see a lot more. In fact, I know you're going to see a lot more kids from Eastern North Carolina that come to Campbell. Braxton Harris is a Texas guy, but he was here as a assistant and then an associate head coach for 3 years when Mike Minter, the former Carolina Panther, that was here for a decade was. And when he was here, he was the head recruiter for this team, and he put together back-to-back in 2022 and 23 the best FCS out of high school recruiting classes in the entire country. The dude knows how to recruit, but he learned during that. He was recruiting all over the country. They had some Florida guys. They have some California guys, some of these guys that are still on the team. But he realized, especially in the transfer portal era, it's hard to keep anybody. It's really hard to keep a dude from California in Buies Creek, North Carolina. So he has, from day one since he got back here, and one of the things he did, I tell you guys, from both sides of 95, probably all the way to Charlotte. He visited every single high school and talked to every single high school coach because he knows that the footprint is North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Every FBS and FCS team says that in North Carolina, but he really knows that that's the place to get these guys not only out of high school, but you made a great point. It's these guys that, grew up playing in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. You know how you are when you're 18, you think it's going to be a good thing to go to the West Coast or the Northeast or the Midwest to play some football, and you get homesick and you realize your friends and family can't play for you. So if you're going from FBS and coming back down to FCS, landing spot right in Campbell, right in the middle of everything. And again, that's another thing that's going to help in this crazy era. The transfers, especially backwards, Campbell's going to be a good landing spot for a lot of guys.
You mentioned recruiting in North Carolina and Eastern North Carolina. One thing I noticed this week was the announcement by WITN that 7.2 would be carrying 5 Campbell home games this year, and I think a couple of other stations, one in Wilmington, and I don't know if the other one's in Fayetteville or where. But how did that come to be? Did you have anything to do with that? Just talk about that deal for Campbell. Was surprised to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. That was something when we got into the CAA, we knew that we had a lot of more palatable games to offer, and a lot of teams in the CAA, which again, one of the best FCS football conferences in the entire country, with a footprint that goes in football only from Maine all the way down through the Carolinas. And so the athletic director, Hannah Bazemore, talked with me and said, hey, let's see if we can get some of these games on TV. So it was awesome. We talked to Great Television. We worked with a company called CSMG as well, and WITN realizes that, hey, there's guys like Randall King that played in Northern Nash. There's some ECU transfers. There's a lot of guys from Eastern North Carolina. So we're going to be on the 7.2 channel, which again, as you guys know, is on a lot of the cable networks as well. And that's just one of the many reasons why Campbell went from the Big South to the CAA. A big reason the CAA took us was because of football, and a big reason why it was such a conference that seemed to be a right fit for Campbell was the fact that things like this now, when you say, hey, we can offer you games that, you know, we're gonna have Furman at home, we're gonna have Western Carolina at home, William and Mary and Elon. These teams are a little different than Robert Morris and Charleston Southern, and so we're able to get on some local and linear TV, as we call it, because these are games that people want to watch, and we're really excited about it. Thanks for mentioning that.
No problem.
We have some questions for you, Chris. So
Sure.
starting with
From
Kenny.
our listeners.
Yes, from Kenny. Chris, what Campbell players make Pirate fans uneasy this Saturday?
Well, you guys have seen this. It goes one or two ways. I've mentioned Randall King's name a lot because he's a sensational athlete and a guy that was a high school all-star in basketball, as well as you had mentioned it. And I think they actually mentioned it in the Pirate press conference this week, that he was one of those silent commits or what have you to ECU, nothing officially on the books, but he was going to come here instead. Instead, he went to Campbell. So when you're playing so close to home, when you're playing in a stadium and that you know a lot about, and a team that you know a lot about, it either does one or two things. Your adrenaline is going so much that it's going to make you even better than you usually are, and you're going to have a big day, or the opposite team's going to know where you're from and what you're trying to do, and also sometimes the nerves set in, and sometimes you try to do a little too much. So Randall King certainly is one to look at. I really like Spencer Jones as a receiver. Again, a guy that was in the program at Duke, and although he didn't play a lot, he's not going to be intimidated by the size and speed of the secondary of ECU. And then I really want to see what Mike Chandler II can do in the Wildcat against this ECU team. You know, we haven't seen him throw it yet this year when he's taken direct snaps. I think that's probably in the playbook somewhere, and he's got the speed and the make you miss kind of moves that could create some problems. So I'm looking at those three guys offensively. If Campbell's going to win, they're going to need to do something special.
All right. Johnny Gardner says, Chris, not sure if this topic falls under your umbrella work-wise. So where the Camels have continued agreement with Under Armour. Thoughts on that agreement, just using your brainstorming tour through Eastern Carolina?
Hey, yeah, absolutely. So Campbell connected with Under Armour back when they moved into Big South in 2011. When you remember, guys, Under Armour didn't even sell shoes yet. So Campbell got into Under Armour because at the time they were with Adidas, and Adidas kind of treated Campbell like Campbell at that time. So They got into Under Armour.
Back when I think only Maryland was using Under Armour.
Yeah, right. And so to be one of the first, we got some special attention, but also too, and again, this is a little bit above what I deal with day to day. Although with one of my new job areas, I'm going to have to get a little bit more versed in it. So you guys just wait till next year. When we play you guys into baseball, I'll be able to tell you all about it. But we were able to get direct access. So our Under Armour rep is not somebody that works for another company that runs Under Armour for a lot of things. Like we're talking to the actual guys in Baltimore. Our athletic director, Hannah Bazemore, who has been in the athletic department first as a student worker and has worked her way all the way up. She has great relationships with them up there, and they treat us really, really well. It's been a great relationship. And I tell you what, guys, I'm not just saying this because I got a lot of free gear from them, but I started at Campbell in 2011, and I believe just last winter when I was going through my closets, there were a couple of over 10-year-old Under Armour polos that I threw out. Now, look, if you have to pay full price from them, I realize you wince a little bit, but these darn things are going to last a long, long time for you. So I can vouch for. I can't vouch for the football helmets, but I can vouch for the polos that I wear to work every day.
And Chris, speaking of Under Armour, isn't the owner of Under Armour, the founder, a Maryland alum? I think off the top of my head, I heard that somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You'll remember, guys, that he was, moisture wicking fabric wasn't a thing, and that's what he created and got Under Armour on the map. And again, they still, their polos, their shirts are pretty awesome. And again, they've been really, really good to us, and it tells you something about the company. Again, they have now a lot of quote unquote bigger universities and colleges in their stable, but they still treat the Camels well.
It was funny you mentioned about the moisture, the wick away, the moisture non-absorbing fabric. What's so funny about that? I work at a place that used to deal with apparel a lot. I don't anymore. But what's so funny about that? You go back to the 90s, early 2000s. One of the primary materials in that shirt, in the Under Armour shirt, and the shirts that are that style, the dry fit, is polyester. And polyester you couldn't give away. You couldn't give it away.
Right.
And, the gentleman that founded Under Armour came up with a very useful, I'm about to say something that don't make any sense, a useful use for it. But he utilized it the way it should have been utilized and turned polyester into something that was used incorrectly and was made fun of into something that was very desirable by blending it with other materials.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Not great as a leisure suit, but
No.
great as a weightlifting shirt and a running shirt, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, Alan Vick says, "Great to see you, Chris. You're a true professional." I don't know if you remember.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead, Johnny. I just want to throw
I was just going to say, no, regarding Under Armour, didn't Kevin Plank, didn't he resign? And then I know he's back, but do you have any idea why he left for a while?
I don't. I think it was one of those when, if I remember it right, things weren't going well, and then you have a board involved and everything like that, and then he came back and started to make some good deals again. It's gone kind of up and down and back and forth. They were losing a little bit of the market share, but they have come back and like everything, I'm gonna sound like my age, but the kids these days, things fall in and out of style just with a snap of the fingers. So we're glad Under Armour has stuck with us, and we will stick with them.
Yeah, Under Armour got red hot, 2012, 2013, 2014, and then they fell off, and Adidas really started to take over a lot of the market share again. Nike's always the standard bearer. But Under Armour seems to be coming back around. I don't know how their shoe sales are doing. I have no idea how they're doing in the footwear world, but the Under Armour clothing, you're starting to see that brand more and more again. So the popularity is definitely coming back around.
Yeah, and I will tell you, the shoes, I mean, they literally didn't sell any shoes for anything. I think they started with a football cleat, and the stories where I was right there, that the shoes were not really good when they started them 14 years ago, whereas if you were trying to create a shoe line out of scratch, it would be. But the shoes are a lot better, especially the high-end shoes that you pay some good money for. They have figured those out. Certainly. But it's interesting, isn't it, guys? Like what is it? New Balance now has come out of nowhere and is a cool shoe now altogether. And Champion is back from the dead as an apparel brand as well.
Yes,
so
that Champion
it's really
brand is
interesting.
Bizarre thing. They were selling Champion at Walmart.
And it's expensive too, and Champion stuff now is really, really pricey.
Yeah, it was insane. They were selling it at Walmart one day, then the next day all the kids were wearing it. It's insane. Chris, I wanted to we'll start wrapping up here in a minute. I do want to ask you a couple. Well, I'm not going to ask you. Just going to make a comment. And somebody keeps hearing like a guitar strum in the background. I don't know who that is, but anyway, the miss you here in Eastern North Carolina. Not the Boys Creek. I know it's kind of southeastern, central North Carolina, but true Eastern North Carolina. I remember you from WCCI. Remember you calling the Indians games. Of course, I remember you calling the East Carolina baseball games. Miss you here in Eastern North Carolina. I know when the position came up and after Jeff Charles passed away, things we won't get into what happened with Chris Edwards. I was ashamed that happened. He's a good dude too. But really, I wanted to see you back here, and you're happy in Boys Creek. So just want to say, not asking you to comment on it at all. Love to see you back in East Carolina one day. So the question is, do you miss Eastern North Carolina? Do you miss Greenville, New Bern, Washington, Kinston, your days at CTI, your days calling Indians games and ECU games? Do you miss this area?
Oh my gosh, absolutely! I heard barbecue number one because even guys, we are an hour and a half away from Kinston and Greenville, and that I mean the best barbecue places around here are good, but they ain't Eastern North Carolina. And I will offend someone, and we'll start an argument that'll last 30 minutes if I say what my favorite places are. But there's multiple kinds of them, like around every corner in Greenville. I mean, it's amazing, you guys. Like Eastern North Carolina has such a huge place in my heart, and New Bern and Kinston and Greenville, because it's people like that, are watching this podcast right now that care enough to send something and say, hey, a true professional, or here's a comment for you, or I want to ask a question, or are you guys even remembering those broadcasts? That's what's really special about it, because Eastern North Carolina sports fans are real sports fans, and they're good sports fans, and they know good broadcasting and good sports writing and good local TV coverage. And you can see that because guys like Brian Bailey and guys like Brian North, who I worked for when I first started there, have been around for so long, because it's not only really good sports and a good variety of sports, but there's so many good sports fans and good sports people and good high school coaches. I learned so much there, and when we play ECU, it's always fun. But when we play ECU in football, it is awesome, guys, because this is the sixth probably interview that I've done to help people get a preview of what Campbell's bringing to town, and it's so much fun, and it's all guys that I knew when I was there. So that was that's what makes it so much fun, and the fact that podcasts like yours and other shows and other local TV, they care enough about the sport that they want to get to know this team that they're playing. Look, Campbell, huge underdog. We're going to go up there. We're going to get a check. You guys are probably going to win by double digits, but you still want to know about this team, and you take the time to reach out to the people that know about the team. It's an unbelievably special place in my heart. As you guys know, when you're standing down at the sidelines at Dowdy Ficklen Stadium when they play Purple Haze and the team comes out, I've been in different big college stadiums. I have been in pro stadiums, and that is the top. And of course, baseball had a very special place in my heart. I was there during one of the many very good years with very good people, and it didn't matter if they were playing Chowan on a Tuesday or North Carolina on a Saturday night in a regional. That place was packed, and you couldn't get a better baseball environment. So it's great to be so close, and it's great to be that so many people that I love are still in North Carolina and Eastern North Carolina, and still take the time to say hi and care. I love Greenville as much as Greenville loves me. I can tell you that much.
That's
I think
awesome,
you're going to be the next AD for ECU. Anyway, you did a great job. But, no, seriously, when you think about Meador is another one that comes to mind. But you've always Brian Meador.
Meador.
Yeah, exactly. But
I love Meador. Love Meador. One of my favorite people at ECU.
You're right about. You're definitely right about how far the media has come. It used to be pretty much just the Daily Reflector. You had the television stations, and there was no radio as far as outside of the game. And now you have radio, you have internet, you have podcasts. We were the very first in 2018. And it's funny, we started something, and then there's like 6, 7, 8 podcasts. Not that I'm complaining, just saying I'm glad that we're still on. And Kyle's put up with me for 7.5 years, and Johnny's been with me pretty much all the way, commenting, and we call him Johnny Stats for a reason. So, but that,
we're missing people from the crew tonight. Normally we have former ECU linebacker Matt Simmons and Northeast Academy head coach Stevie Fly, but it's a smaller crew tonight, but that's okay. But Chris, genuinely appreciate what you do. Respect you as a professional. One more quick thing I have for you, non-Campbell or ECU related, but you called Kinston Indian baseball. Was really happy, when the Wood Ducks left, and I knew that was coming. I knew it was going to be their temporary home. Was really glad to see the Bird Dogs come to town and see professional baseball, even if it's at the MLB partner league level. I thought, nothing against the Coastal Plain League is fantastic, but I thought having true professional baseball was very important for Kinston. So I just want to get your thoughts, if you have any, on that there's still true professional baseball with the Frontier League coming to Kinston with the Bird Dogs.
Absolutely. And you have to give credit to, all the people in Eastern North Carolina that still go to the games, but there is a group of people in Kinston, and the two biggest one that comes to name are now co-owners in Cam McCray and Bill Ellis, who Cam McCray was the owner of the team when I was there with Kinston, and really good people that have been really good to me. But it's important
people that don't know
because
who
of
Cam
the tradition.
McCray is. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but for people that don't know who Cam McCray is,
No.
If you eat at Bojangles in Eastern North Carolina, you're giving Cam McCray money. That's who that is.
If you eat at Bojangles from Richmond all the way down into South Carolina, you are, and that's why I'm so glad to see him. I am so glad to see him come in, because again, you want to make some money, you want to at least break even, but I think he has the pockets to keep it going for a while. And guys, I don't know if you made it to a game this year, but it was awesome. We went there on a Campbell coaches caravan. We took our football coach, our men's basketball coach, and our softball coach, and it was the first time I had been there for a couple of years, and they have improved that place even more. They have a brand new scoreboard that rivals what you'll see in most college baseball stadiums, a brand new sound system. Of course, what they've done to the pavilion, and so they spruced up everything. They built a new picnic area down the left field line now too. I mean, it is a really, really, really good place to see baseball, and yet you can still sit, 15 feet from home plate with a ticket that costs $15 under the old roof like the stadiums used to be. But then they added all this other stuff out there. So I was really, really pleased to see not only did they build the team back, but they have some owners again that are behind it that are going to make that place the best that they can be. And so we were so impressed. My associate AD was there, and they were so impressed that they really want to try to play a game in Kinston with Campbell baseball. Of course, it'd be great if ECU could, do one of those like they've been doing. Campbell plays ECU at ECU like they usually do. ECU comes here, and then we could play a middle game like that. Again, that's just me and a couple others in administration dreaming. We haven't talked to any of the head coaches that are important to do that yet, but that's how good that stadium is now, guys. And so that's what I was even more impressed to see. And of course, we'll love to have baseball back in Kinston. But they made an interesting point. This is both a good and a not so good thing. If you're a Kinston baseball fan, that this shows the reach of the game. But because of the Coastal Plain League and all this, they said that in all the towns that they used to draw from, your Goldsboro, your Greenville, your LaGrange, your New Bern, your Jacksonvilles, all of these teams now have Wooden Bat League teams. And so that is helping to grow baseball in other places, but to pull away from Kinston. So hopefully it helps Kinston rebound. I thought Kinston was just getting there, guys. And I don't know, we all know about the town and the problems that they have. And I think it was about to get over the hump, and then COVID kind of kicked it back down again. So hopefully this ballpark and what they're putting into it will revitalize things once again.
Yeah, you make a great point about all the Coastal Plain League and Wood Bat League teams around. I had that very thought. Goldsboro does not have a team, but that is an area that should be able to draw from. Wilson, the Tobbs, looks like they're probably going to Zebulon because the Mudcats are moving to Wilson, true minor league baseball there, single A affiliate for the Brewers. Morehead City, the Marlins are one of the best drawing teams in the Coastal Plain League, so that hurts attendance for coming up from the coast. Greenville has the Yard Gnomes now. So yeah, I agree with all that. It's great for the game, but I do think it hurts people. Or people to places like Kinston with the Bird Dogs, and the amount of and they have done some great things. I agree with you. The scoreboard, they got to work some kinks out. There's a lot of potential with that scoreboard to do a lot of cool things. They got to find somebody who knows how to operate it.
Yeah.
The party deck, the Mother Earth Brewery party deck, the picnic area. There's several things. There's several things they need to improve on, and I've had these conversations and will continue.
Oh,
But I was going somewhere with this to sidetrack myself. I had to explain as a fan going to these games to several fans in the stands what Frontier League baseball was, what independent baseball was, what it meant to be an MLB partner league. So many people were, and I love the fact that they have MLB partner league all over the place.
Yeah.
But they need to do a better job explaining what that is and really lean into that to separate themselves from the collegiate league baseball.
yeah.
Yeah, because as you know, it's a big difference. And again, like, hey, it's professional baseball, and a lot of times those are guys that have made the major leagues before and have played the triple and the double A, which is better than the baseball that has been in Kinston for really the past 30 years. Guys that are just coming up. You're right.
The way I explained it to people, I said it's unaffiliated minor league baseball. These guys can sign with any major league baseball program they want to, and they do. There was a guy, I was keeping up with the Frontier League. There was a guy playing for the New York Boulders that got signed in pretty late in the season to Tampa's organization, the Rays. So this few players leave the league during the season each year. So it is really good baseball. And I don't know how we got on this tangent because the Bird Dogs went long.
You brought it up.
Yeah. But no, it is really good baseball. I'm glad to see him in Kinston. I'm in LaGrange, so it's near and dear to my heart. So hopefully continued success for the Bird Dogs, but more so continued success for the Pirates and continued success for the Camels after this weekend.
Yeah, Chris, I wanted to ask you
Absolutely.
really quick, speaking of baseball, your thoughts on as far as the Mudcats not being there anymore, the Warbirds. My friends in Wilson, just judging by social media, I don't think it's a great move. I love the city of Wilson. I don't expect you to say anything about that. But just judging, they love the Tobbs. The Tobbs have a lot of traction there. They won the CPL. They're
going to Zebulon.
Well, that's according to Justin official. They're going to Smithville.
Yeah, I know
Wow.
Zebulon. What I read last night is they're going to put the new owners there or the new lease agreement with the folks from WRL. I hear they're putting a CPL league team there. Now, who knows? That could be a bad rumor. It could be something else they're going for. But to me, putting the Tobbs there made a lot of sense. You can call them the Carolina Tobbs, kind of tie in the Mudcats and the Tobbs together.
Yeah, well, I love the Mudcats. I think it's a shame, and I understand. And considering how that, you want to talk about humble beginnings. That was like a high school stadium when they first started, and I think they were in the Sally League off the top of my head. And I saw Michael Jordan play there with the Birmingham Barons. He was number, I think, 45, but it was double A at the time. And there was a time when you had single A with Kinston, double A with Carolina, triple A with Durham. So within a short distance. But I will say this about Kinston really fast is that I do go to the games. However, if they were closer, I would go to a lot more. So
we're going to move Kinston.
I mean, you can't. I understand that. I'm just saying the reason there's a lot of us that want to go to games, and we may go to a few games, and we would go to many, many more games. But it's just like for me, it's at least an hour and a half each way. Like, so you get done at 9, 10 o'clock at night. You get home at 11:30. Not a big deal for me, but it is when I want to take my kids there, and maybe especially if it's a school night, not in the summertime, obviously. But anyway, Chris, thank you so much. I know that you have Campbell on your mind, and we're looking forward to the game. And thank you for always being very good to us. I would say that if we had a guest Hall of Fame, you would definitely be up there. In there. You've always been very good to us, so thank you for that. And thank you for going way over with us. We appreciate it tonight.
Well, hey, I love the discussion, and anytime the Orange Camels are coming up that way, just give me a call. Thank you guys for what you do. It's always a fun time, and let's hope it's a close-ish game, at least for us through the first half on Saturday. You guys, thank you so much.
See you later.
Thanks, Chris.
All All right, bye-bye.
See ya.
All right, bye-bye. Great to have him with us, obviously, guys. And
Yeah, genuinely really like Chris Heymer and respect him as a professional. I think he's one of the best in the business. I would love to see him back at ECU.
yeah, Southern Johnny Gardner with the Southern League from Mudcats. They actually told them when it was AA that they were going to kick them out of the league if they didn't. And all of a sudden, they built a nice park. And I hate that I didn't get a chance to go to Cattail's restaurant. But anyway, unfortunately, I couldn't go to any of the games, and I know that's really sad. But we'll see. We'll see how things go with the Warbirds. I do like the name of the Warbirds. I like that a lot. It's a history thing with them. I think it goes all the way back to World War II. Somebody help me out. Johnny Gardner, Justin, somebody can help me out. I believe that's off the top of my head reading that, but I wish them the best. But just judging with the people that live in Wilson that I know, they won't. Their Mike Bell won the general manager executive of the year for the CPL. They won the CPL. They have a ton of attendance, man. They've got tons of sponsorships. They have the North Carolina Baseball Hall of Fame there, Johnny. I don't know if you know about that. They even have my Uncle Roger in there. They have stuff in there, but it's right there with the stadium at Fleming Stadium. It's one of those cool ballparks like Granger. But anyway, we'll see how that goes this coming year. We'll see how they do the attendance wise with.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think people in Wilson will embrace it. If not, then maybe that'll bode well for the Bird Dogs. You guys want to give your scores really fast here? It's just three of us. I'm going to make up a score for Matt and Stevie. I'll give mine first. I'm going to say East Carolina. I'm going to go East Carolina 41, Campbell 21.
Okay, I'll go next. We're close, Kyle. I've had since thinking about this game, I'm going to stick with my first thought was. I'm going 42-14 Pirates, and I know people are talking about. I just don't see. Not that I'm dogging the team. I just don't see 50 points. If we do, I'll be even happier. But hey, Johnny, getting a win is the most important thing, and playing good on all three sides of the ball, as Ruff and McNeil used to say.
Agreed. But you stole my score, Dave.
Are you serious?
I was going 42-14. I'll go 42-13. How about that?
Yeah, and Matt predicted Campbell to win 52-3. And Stevie said that his 8-man team at Northeast Academy could handle the Pirates. So there you go. That was their predictions.
Kenny says Pirates 44-17. Johnny says Whirligig has artwork in the Plaza of Parkleby as an Air Force pilot that went under the moniker of Warbirds. That's right. So thank you there, cool. Johnny. And Philip Lee said he thinks it's going to be 35-14. Hey, I'll take it, man. I'm serious. I'll take it. I think really quick, guys, I'm going to say this. We're not overlooking Campbell.
I think it could be a dangerous game if we're not focused. If we come in looking back at NC State or thinking ahead to Coastal, I think they got enough talent on that team. There's enough former FBS players that played in the ACC. There is, the kid who could have came here who's from Rocky Mount. There's too much of that if we don't play well, we could find ourselves in a ball game late. You want that game to be over with no later than by the time we lower that no quarter flag. But this is, to me, this ain't Western Carolina from a few years ago, for example, or NC Central from a few years ago, an FCS school that did not have the ability to come in and compete. And I think people hear Campbell and they think that this Campbell football program is improving. They have the right man as head coach. And again, yes, and they have money. You nailed it. And if we don't come in focused, this game can be a lot closer than people want it to be. That's not what I'm predicting to happen. I'm just throwing up the warning flags.
You guys remember with the 2019 guys with the Charleston Southern game?
No, that was 21. That was 21. We were down 14-0 in that game.
We only won by a touchdown.
Yeah,
3 points, 31-28.
Was it only 3 points? Okay.
So what happened, Kyle? They
Their
scored.
Quarterback was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. They scored 14 in the first quarter and 14 in the fourth quarter, and we didn't score at all in the first or fourth, but we had 31 in the second and third. So it was a weird game.
Yeah, and I remember after that game, this is what I remember mostly, Johnny. I want to say after that game, we played Tulane the next game, and Tulane was favored, and everybody picked Tulane to blow us out. And even the guys on the show, and I don't want to say to blow us out, they picked Tulane to win. Even the guys on the show picked Tulane to win. We had just interviewed, what's his face? The guy who's the voice of Tulane now that was our baseball voice.
Corey
Corey
Gore.
Yeah, I don't know why I can think of his name as much as he's been on the show, but we just interviewed Corey, and so I got done, and everybody gave their prediction. I'm normally super conservative in my predictions, and I said blowout, Pirates win big. And lo and behold, if you guys remember that Tulane game after the Campbell game in 21 with the Greenway as a favorite, we won that game by like 3 touchdowns. That was one of the better performances from a Mike Houston team in terms of games they weren't supposed to win.
No doubt. In that SMU game at the end of the season, 20, yeah, guys. I really believe that we're going to have a good time. And Johnny Gardner, we wanted King as a DB, and he wanted to be wide receiver. He's the one from Northern Nash.
Okay, that explains it. And I bet you also that he, because of him wanting to play receiver, I bet you he sees the opportunity at Campbell to make an impact, which he's doing, and then get paid by ECU, UNC, somebody next year. It'd be funny if we want him next year and offer him money. Who knows?
No doubt. And let's see. The formula is their starting quarterback gets shut down. Some mobile quarterbacks come in and gives ECU a fit. Absolutely. We want to make sure. I want it to be very, very, very boring. I want us to punch them in the mouth and have like it's, wow, we still got.
I want it to be exciting, but exciting because we're scoring. I don't want it to be a nail biter. No, I don't want a nail biter. Yeah.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. You're saying that. You're saying you want it to be boring because it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. To me, that's not boring. If we're laying 45 points.
Yeah, I'm happy. As far as the game itself, it's not a
not an exciting game for the third-party viewer that not a fan of either one. Yeah.
Kenny says Pirates are pissed off about last week. That doesn't go good for the Humps. I agree with Kyle that we need to take this game seriously. Absolutely, Philip. The three of us on this show, you don't hear us talking trash about Campbell or anyone. And not only because we like Chris.
I will Carolina. By the way, guys, just quickly. I didn't mean to cut you off, Dave. Just quickly. What if the other line instead of TCU was ECU? Now, we wouldn't have blown them out like the Horned Frogs did. We're not as good as TCU. TCU was a 9-win team last year. A couple years ago, played for the national championship. People seem to have forgotten that.
Yep.
But I do believe, had we played UNC Monday night, we'd have won that game. We'd have probably won it by like 3 to 10 points, but we'd have won that game. Could you imagine what would be happening in Chapel Hill right now if they had lost to ECU instead of TCU? Oh my God! They might have run Belichick out of town after game 1.
I told you guys when we heard about that story, it was going to go really well and really badly, or really badly. It wasn't going to be anything in between. I think honestly, you pay a guy $10 million a year. And somebody said, what was the budget for those players? Was it really
21 million is what I heard.
20 million, over $20 million. The thing I was thinking about, you guys, and I'm glad you brought that up, Kyle, because I was going to tell you this in the group chat Tuesday. Can you imagine if East Carolina paid a coach $10 million and we spent, no, I'm just saying, think about if we always do more with less. And Carolina has 100 guys. Carolina has a budget, something like $100 million. Ours is around 50 million, a little north of 50 million. So let's say half of their budget. And I guarantee you, if we spent 20 million on the players alone, we would have made that at least a competitive game, if not beat TCU, if we had that kind of money. I'm telling you.
Yeah, TCU is really good, and that's yet to be seen how good TCU is. They may be the best. Nobody predicted the preseason, but they could be a competitor to win that Big 12 championship. So, how bad Carolina is, they play Charlotte this weekend. I didn't even check the line in that game. I would imagine it's going to be bigger than it should
11, I believe.
Only 11. Okay, I wouldn't touch it. I thought, sometimes they don't, Johnny, sometimes they don't adjust lines enough after week one because they don't overreact. That
Yeah.
that one's an adjustment. I was going to say, I figured it was going to be like 17 points. So I wouldn't touch that line at 11. If it was what I thought it was going to be, like 17, I was going to say, put all your money on Charlotte. But at 11, no, I wouldn't touch
Yeah.
that. No way.
I hope for Carolina's sake, they better start Max Johnson because he's clearly the better quarterback over Gio Lopez. And that team, they spent $21 million. They didn't get any speed whatsoever. That could be the slowest team in the ACC.
Yeah, because he's coaching pro style football, JR. He's running practices like it's the NFL.
I'll tell you what it's like. I was thinking about you guys when we were watching that game. I think a lot of us were watching that. But when I was watching that reminded me of the crap that was going on with the Montgomery years. I think they have more talent, obviously, than Montgomery had.
Oh, definitely.
But I know. I'm not comparing the
they
talent.
Got city speed.
But exactly. But if you look at it, think about this. You hear about we should run this as a business, talking about college football now. You hear about, it's more like the pros now. College football is way, way different. Look at all the times you see college football coaches try to be pro or vice versa. It's not the same. It's totally.
You still got to develop talent. I do think, Dave, that and we need to really start wrapping this up. We're going long, but I do think that there is a place probably with managing rosters for a young NFL coach. But Bill Belichick is 70-some freaking years old. Look, just because you're banging a 24-year-old, don't make you young, brother. I mean, good for you. I'm not hating on him for his girlfriend. A lot of people are, mainly women, and then guys that want to pretend like they're saying it to please their woman. But I'm not hating on him. I'd be doing the same thing if I had that kind of money and I was that age. But, I think the game at the college level, I won't even say it's passed him by because he was never here. He's stepping into something that people say football. Well, bullshit. It's just not true. So I think he's stepping into a world he really doesn't know anything about, and he's doing it at 70-some years old.
Did you see him? When he walked down, when he was walking, it was just like, oh my gosh. For me personally, they had a retiring coach in Mac Brown. They paid all that money,
and they hired another old guy. Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing.
And on top of that, he's getting $10 million a year for 5 years. That's $50 million. They put $30 million into the football program. And I'll just say, I'm going to go on the record for this because this was my gut feeling. I'm just going to say it. I don't care anything about Carolina, but I will tell you this, just for a guy outside looking in, I'll mark my words right now. They've gone from mediocre to bad football. And
I'm not going to say that just yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they're at least a bowl team. I think there's too much talent there. Maybe we'll get a
over under was 6.5, guys.
Maybe we'll get a 6-6 North Carolina in the Military Bowl.
Oh my Lord, that would be great. Oh. But let's see here. Let's do a few more comments and last call for comments and questions. All that money and their talent level is less than state. Philip says, I think the Bill Belichick experience will last 4 to 5 years, and that's about it. And,
no, it ain't going to last that long, Philip.
No, I don't think so.
Unless something changes majorly, if they go 6-6, I bet he retires after this year. But if he doesn't at least win 7 or 8 games, I bet he's done after this year.
Philip says, no, go ahead.
I have a stat. I have a Bill Belichick stat.
Please go.
Bill Belichick's record, including the last game against TCU, without Tom Brady, 84 and 104.
Wow.
One of my coworkers that's on my team said to me, David, I know what the problem is. And I said, what? And it's not a football person. And it's a lady. She says, he doesn't have Tom Brady. I said, that's one of the absolutely. If he could do that, let's see. Alan Vick, our buddy, says it's like I said, Belichick had the look on his face like I do when I'm trying to figure out how to put cheese on my burger at Sheetz. There's kiosks when you're trying to figure
I got it.
All right, Matt says, correct me if I'm wrong, but that transfer DB from ECU was the third leading tackler, and Mims was their best defensive DI.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw people talking about the two former ECU players and their stats, and I don't give a damn. They're Tar Heels now. I hope they both stub their toes really bad.
Clay Jerry said, but you guys know that Holton Ahlers is the son of the PA announcer. He still is. And
That's pretty funny. I mean, I don't know why you bring that up right now, but it was
joke
about
about
as
it.
relevant. It was about as relevant then as it is now, Jerry. So I get your joke. God, that used to get on my damn nerves when people. I got a good friend who's a very smart man. I won't get into who he is or what he knows. But he's a very smart man, and I'll say this: I would trust him with my life. But he don't. Good God, he was convinced Holton Ahlers was the worst quarterback ever and needed to be on the bench.
He said
And,
he was talking about Garcia, how great Garcia was going to be.
yes, very smart guy. Not putting him down at all, but I'm just saying sometimes you're an expert in one thing and you just don't know. He didn't know quarterbacks.
You know that saying with Shinola? Let's see.
I just okay. I got it.
Also, Antoine Jackson has been good for us at UCF.
What? He's been good for us at UCF.
I don't know what that means. That I
You're
don't.
saying he was good here for us, and now he's at UCF. I
guess
guess
that's what he means.
yeah, I don't care. I don't care about any of these players that have transferred on. I don't know why anybody else does. They're not Pirates anymore. They can I want to say worse than what I'm saying, but they can all go stub their toes. The kids that are here now, whether they transferred here or came out of high school, they're Pirates now. Once you leave here, unless you go to the league, or unless there's a good reason for you to transfer, like maybe your mama's sick and you live from Oklahoma, I don't give a damn. Once you leave here, I don't care anymore. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I don't care what they do.
Yeah, my
100%.
My thing is, especially Johnny with baseball, I was like, if I heard one more time about Zach Root, I'm not anti the guy or bitter. I'm just like, okay, he's playing in Arkansas. He's a damn pitcher. Okay. But baseball,
yeah, I didn't care. And
baseball seems to rub me the wrong way the most.
Well, the whole thing is Zach would have made plenty of money had he stayed here another year, going to the major leagues. But you can't fault a young man, I don't guess, for going to take a paycheck. But I don't care what they do once they take that paycheck and they're not here anymore.
Let's see. Matt says, my point is they have deep pockets and their defense is leaning on ECU transfers. That's not a pathway to national championships.
Okay. Well, I get your point, Matt. It's just seen a lot of people talk about it.
Clay says, brother, this popped up in my recommended for some reason. Just wanted to pop in and hear some ball for a moment.
Clay, we're glad you're here, man. Keep if you're a Pirate, I'm assuming, even if you're not a Pirate, keep watching. We do this every Sunday night. Normally, former ECU linebacker Matt Simmons is with us. Head coach at Northeast Academy, Stevie Fly. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell people you don't like. Just tell them to tune in. And we do this every Sunday. And during football season, we do it on Wednesday. We cover whatever sports in session. And we have, like I said, for football, we have Matt Simmons. For baseball, we have different people. For basketball, we have different people. There's always going to be the core here with me and Dave. JR is, JR, I don't know if you're going to be contributing beyond football season, but you're at least here for football season. So glad to have a new viewer, and I hope you keep watching, listening. Tell your friends.
When we started the podcast, I don't know if you remember Kyle, and then we'll get out of here. We have some people that are non-ECU people that back then listened, and now I don't know if they still watch or listen, but that's the coolest compliment you can ever get is when you have somebody that doesn't even care about ECU, but they're like, okay, if I want to know about ECU, then I'm going to watch the Sports Objective. Or sometimes they're, trolling or they're nosy or whatever, but hey, we'll take it. We are very proud of over 7.5 years, well, almost 7.5 years. And actually it is 7.5 years now officially. And we have over 1,000 episodes, and having Johnny, we've met so many great friends like Johnny Robertson, who's a real good guy and knows what he's talking about when we call him Johnny Sats for a reason. And Johnny needs you on Friday night, man. We got a big high school football game with
who's on the docket on Friday?
We've got Wilson Hunt, brother, a 5A.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank you, Brennan, very much. Brennan says the Sports Objective is the best podcast at ECU Sports, bar none.
Thank you, Shapiro. Shapiro,
our buddy.
You owe me at least that, Shapiro. You owe me at least that compliment. I appreciate it.
All right, what do you guys? Do you have anything before you get out of here, Johnny? When are you coming down, brother? We're gonna I was told that we're going to be partying at your house right close to the stadium. I
Well,
don't
my
know.
wife will be there, but I won't.
Oh,
I
okay.
better let her know you're coming.
Oh, no,
No,
no, no, no. I didn't. We were looking out for Johnny Roberts.
Well, JR will be here Saturday.
yeah, I'm coming late Friday. I'm loading the dog in the truck and heading down there.
What kind
Probably.
of truck you got, JR?
What kind of dog?
No, well, yeah, that too. Well, I know what kind of dog you have. What kind of truck you got?
Oh, I have a Tacoma.
With the Tacoma, okay.
I
got a
know. I'm
Frontier.
a Chevrolet guy, Kyle. I'm a
No, I
Chevrolet
got.
guy.
Hey,
But I had the Silverado.
I got a Frontier Pro 4X, baby.
Okay.
I like the Japanese midsize trucks too.
Well, I had to do it.
We'll race. We'll race.
But-
You want to race?
Yeah, no, I had to do it for gas mileage reasons. I put so many miles
got the
going back and
four-cylinder?
forth. No, I have the 6, but it's still pretty good.
What's your horsepower?
Well, I don't know what the horsepower is, but I'll tell you what. When I need to pass somebody, it's not an issue.
All right, we're gonna race.
Hey, here you go, Kyle. Look at this. Think on this for Sunday. What would the ECU UNC line be? So I would assume that's a.
If the game was this week, if it was in Greenville, like it's in Charlotte, my guess is UNC -6. That would be my bet. They're minus 11 against Charlotte, so -6 to -8 if they were playing us, Carolina, and they would probably get upset.
Philip says, "Love the show, guys. I've enjoyed listening to y'all over the years, and I'll keep listening to you." Thank you, Philip. We need more Phillips out there. We got the Brennans and the all the Johnnies out there. Justin Butts. There's so many people I'm gonna leave out. Shell.
Yeah,
Charlotte, Matt,
we appreciate everybody that listens on YouTube
Robert.
and Facebook, and we need to do a better job of getting some old content back up on the traditional podcast platforms and making sure we're getting these shows out on Apple, Spotify, etc. But we've really concentrated on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram here lately, and we appreciate everybody for listening on those platforms, watching, however you want to say it.
Uh-oh. NFL really quick. Cowboys beat the Eagles on Thursday. I know we'll see about that. By the way, great documentary on Netflix, even though, sorry, Kenny, I love you to death, brother, but I'm a Redskins fan. But that documentary, America's Team on Netflix, guys, you got to see it. It's very good. They did a good job with it. And that's a huge compliment coming from a guy that's my least favorite team. I love you, brother Kenny. We could at least agree on the Pirates. So Johnny, you're with me on the Redskins, right?
I was a diehard Redskins fan. I mean, I go to all their games, but no, I'm a Panthers fan now because I hate the fact that not only they changed the name to Commanders, but they didn't even let us keep. I mean, they could have kept the uniforms essentially the same and just done something different with the helmet, but they went for a complete rebrand, and I'm not participating in it. So I love Jaden Daniels, though. I love Jaden Daniels.
They're bringing back the burgundy and gold from the 80s, the Joe Gibbs years. So
yeah, for one game.
At least one, and maybe a couple games. But Kenny says I'm so over Jerry Jones. Kenny, let me just say this, and I'm sorry, Kyle, but I'll say this about NFL. And you guys know how much I love defense. Micah Parsons, I saw the guy in last year when the Commanders, the Redskins played the Cowboys. That dude is so much faster in person. To get rid of that guy, to trade him, and then you didn't even tell him he was traded. The way he found out he was traded is the Packers called him. He didn't even know he was traded. So anyway, I'm not worried about him. He got a lot of money guaranteed, and we're not going to get in that.
They're referred to as movers.
Oh, that was unbelievable. Anyway, guys, I look forward to it. We're going to get out there at the 2:00 hour, and we're going to be. By the way, if you want to come see us, we are going to. We will be directly behind, and hopefully we can get Kyle and Johnny, a few of us, together for a little bit. If you're, I believe the spot is 613, but if you know where section 2, where you come out, we're literally like right there. The scoreboard end on the press box side, it's like a paved.
Dave will be there at 2:00. I will not. I am not. It's going to be 90 degrees. Look, by the way, and as we wrap this up, the only 90-degree day we've had in about 3 weeks is going to be Saturday. Then we're going to go back to unusually cool weather for the start of next week, which is fantastic. It seems to be an early fall, not a false fall. But I won't be there at 2:00 because it's going to be 90 degrees. Kickoff time is going to be about 80. I'll arrive about 4:30. So whatever tailgate I hit up, whether it be the Sports Objective tailgate or anybody else's tailgate, it'll be about 4:30 when I get there.
We'll just come there halfway through the tailgate. And guys, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be actually in the press box, and my tickets. All four. It's two fathers and two daughters are bringing their kids to see the game. Trying to get more people in the stadium that would not normally be there.
Two fathers and two daughters are bringing their kids to see the game.
No, it's two. It's
Good
a
Lord.
dad and daughter.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that I know.
Good.
So anyway,
Go Mountaineers.
Wow. All right, I wasn't going there, but anyway, we have music 2 until 5. Kenny, let us know where you are. We'll try to see. Maybe one of us can get over there and see a brother. Appreciate you very much. Put it in the comments, and we'll be able to see it. We'll get out of here. Good luck to the Pirates. Don't forget, by the way, we have the Pirate football playback Sunday night. If you remember, the Logan show used to be on Sunday nights at 8. That's when we have our post-game show. And we're
going to go for it every time.
That's right. Or you don't coach at East Carolina. You don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
That's right.
All right, guys. We'll get out of here. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Saturday right there at the stadium and back here on Sunday night, again, for the Pirate football playback. Thanks to our great guest, Chris Heymer. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Kyle. Thank all our great listeners and viewers. We appreciate it so much. Until next time, you've been watching the Pirate preview, and it's on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.